Hi Shane and Imelda. Thanks so much for sending through your pictures of your apartment. And you sent me through the floor plan as well. So that's fantastic. Thanks a million. And I got all your questions in your email that you sent me through. So I'm going to have a look at the pictures and your floor plan and come up with some solutions for you. So I know you want to make the most of that kitchen space and the layout of the whole space. And I know you want to bring a bit of personality and colour to the space as well, so which is really cool. And so I'm looking at, you mentioned looking at new furniture, new flooring, new kitchen, whole new layout for the space, just to see what will work the best. So you'll see now in the video that I'm about to make that I'll have a look, I'll go through and talk through all of what's there at the moment, what's maybe working and not working, and how you can bring a lot more light into the space as well. So hope you enjoy the video, and as always, if you have any questions, just feel free to email me and I'll be more than happy to get back to you. Talk to you soon. Hey guys, okay, so I'm just going to take a quick look at your photographs first that you've sent me through, and then we'll have a look at your current floor plan just to see how we can make the most of this space. So I can see there straight away, you know, as you mentioned, it is a bit of a dark space, and it is you know, kind of trying to do a lot of things, I suppose, for a small space. But then again, it is an apartment in Dublin, so it's fairly typical of a lot of Irish apartments, you know, that there's a kitchen kind of built into the corner, and then the rest is left very just open to do whatever you want with it. So there's definitely ways that we can improve this space and kind of help you guys just really get a lot more bang for your buck in terms of room in this particular space. I also think that there's a lot we can do with the finishes and the colour and that kind of thing to bring a lot more light and bright airiness in, whilst also putting colour and personality into the space as well. So the first thing I'm going to say is I can see there you did mention in your email to me, and I can see it in your floor plan, which we'll look at in a second, that there is this kind of funny little stud wall here that just divides. I don't know why the builders would have put that there, but it divides the space up, and it means that you can't use this space here at all. So it's a little bit awkward. So the first thing we're obviously going to suggest, and I know you guys suggested it yourselves, is that we'll take out that stud wall. So that'll open that kitchen space right up. So okay, this is your kind of standing in the kitchen looking back at the living room. And I know that there you mentioned is a supporting column, so we can't move that, but there is a way to address that as well, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. And you have a lovely big window here, which is great, really high window, so that's really good. We can kind of draw in a lot of light from there as well. And I can see that you have your boiler in here, so obviously we can't move this little kind of cupboard either. Nice big L-shaped sofa, which is great. The dark furniture, to be honest, and the dark colour on the walls is probably what's making this feel a little bit dark, so we'll look at that all as well, and how you might get different furnishings and finishes into the space to just brighten the whole thing up. Okay, so that's just another angle. I can see that supporting column there, so I have an idea for how we'll get around that. And then I think this is just kind of looking back at the window. It is, yeah. Sorry, now I can get that to open up. So just looking back at the window, and you can see it's quite a big window, which is great. You have a big TV unit in there at the moment, and again it's kind of dark in colour, so we might do something to change that. Your lighting, I think as well, we could do a bit there. One thing I'd always say when you're hanging pictures and clocks and things like that, just a general tip is pull them down a little bit, because by having them up so high, believe it or not, you're pulling your eye way up. But if you pull them down a little bit more to eye level, it's just a lot more comfortable in a room of this size, and it just works to kind of pull the room together a little bit better. Anyway, that's a minor thing. So we're just going to look at the floor plan. I kind of get the picture there anyway, but we'll have a quick look at the floor plan as it is. So this is the door coming in from the hallway, which we saw in your photos. That's that funny little stud wall. So the first thing is we're going to get rid of that. This is the kitchen as you have it currently laid out. So your fridge here, your sink here, there's that supporting column. You have a big L-shaped sofa and a big TV unit. So, okay, so that's kind of how it is at the moment. Now, you guys suggested, you actually sent this through to me and suggested that you wanted to put a bar in to make the most of the space. And you were looking at doing it here, coming out from that supporting column. So, whilst a bar or an island, I think, would be ideal for this kitchen, I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's the right place for it. I actually think over here is the way you should go. And the reason for that is you've all this space here that you can utilise that will just be wasted space if you put the bar here. But also you're really kind of blocking off the flow of the room and that open plan feeling by kind of closing it up again by having this bar here. You're also going to have a difficulty if you have people sitting here, potentially standing up, moving around. They're going to be in the way of anybody that's sitting here trying to watch TV, or, you know, kind of even getting past the sofa here. It looks like the space is quite small. So you could shorten the bar, but again, I don't think that that's the right place for it. It really blocks the flow of the room. It's like you walk into the room and you're met with the side of the sofa, the side of the bar. There's just no openness to that. So I'm going to have a look at a couple of different solutions to maybe look at how we could get a bar or an island going this way in your kitchen. So the first one I want to have a look at is this idea of a galley kitchen. So for you guys, again, you have that kind of small kitchen, but actually you have a lot of space here. When you take out that stud wall, you're left with a fair bit of space, and you could really build quite a big bar going this way. And this, I've actually done this to scale so that it is 1 meter wide this way, which means that you could actually have a big overhang at this end of the bar and get, say, 4 people around the end of the bar. It creates like a really nice little dining space for you, actually. It would mean moving your sink, but you could certainly move your sink without too much hassle. It's just moving a bit of plumbing. Try and put your sink maybe in the middle, because you might have to have your dishwasher underneath here. And you might, if you can move your sink up, you'll get your washing machine in here. For this wall here, what I'm going to suggest is having double ovens on this wall. So actually moving your ovens over here to standing height. I'm also going to suggest full height cabinetry and shelving on this wall. And I'm going to suggest just low-lying cabinetry, actually just the base cabinets on this wall here. Leave your hob where it is. Leave your fridge where it is, but you'd actually do built-ins around your fridge. And then for that awkward little pillar that you have in your living room, that's structural, so we can't move it. But what we can do is actually build a little cabinet in front of it. And by doing that, it would only be for like spices or tinned food or something. It won't be very deep, like 300 mils or something. But you could build that full height as well, and up to the height of the built-ins around the fridge. So it makes the whole thing look integrated. The other thing is, with this wall here, I'd suggest bringing everything up to the ceiling, and over here as well. Any kind of built-ins that you're doing, bring them all the way up to the ceiling, because you don't have a very high room, so you can actually really make the space feel a lot bigger, a lot higher, by pulling all this stuff up towards the ceiling, your cabinetry. You also will get an awful lot more storage out of adding this bar, a really deep bar. You could actually probably do double-sided cabinets so that you have cabinet doors here and cabinets on this side as well. And you'll get a lot more storage by bringing all of these things up to the ceiling. Finally, what I'm going to suggest in this layout is that your sofa is oriented this way, which you guys have suggested yourselves, which is great. And that you actually get rid of the TV unit and instead mount your TV on the wall and maybe just have a low-lying cabinet underneath it. So those are my suggestions for the Galley Kitchen floor plan. I've also done this as an island. It's pretty much the same layout, but with an island instead, because I know you said you were keen to look at this idea of an island. And in this case, you'd get in just more cabinetry, full height cabinetry along this wall. You could also put top cabinets in here, but again, bring them all the way up to the ceiling if you're going to do that, because it'll just give your kitchen that sense of grandeur and height. So I want to show you first of all just a couple of samples of galley kitchens. Now this is just for an idea of what a galley kitchen looks like in an apartment space. So there's an example of a galley kitchen in an apartment space. I know you were worried that there wouldn't be enough room, but there actually is. When we look at that floor plan, that galley kitchen floor plan, I've left 1.2 meters between the bar and these cabinets here. So actually that gives you plenty of space then when you look at your galley kitchen. It gives you loads of space to actually open dishwashers and cabinets and have two people working within the kitchen and passing each other by. So 1.2 meters is actually plenty for two people to work within a kitchen. So that's just a sample of a galley kitchen and kind of how it is laid out and how it functions. This is another example here. So this one has a lovely deep island, so you can see yourself that you can get, diners in at this end pretty easily. So I think the galley kitchen just makes the most of the layout of your space. But if you are going to go for the island, couple of suggestions. So if you're going to go for the island, I mentioned this idea of doing double ovens and a wall of full height cabinetry. So there's an example of that done really well. The other thing I like is this idea of doing kind of low lying lighting just down at the baseboards of your cabinets. So that really elevates the look of the room. Strip lighting always as well underneath your top cabinets, so that's just task lighting, but lighting is just so key. It really elevates the whole look of the room. So there's just a sample of that. This is just then a final example of another kitchen there with double ovens and that full height cabinetry. You can see it goes pretty much all the way up to the ceiling, and it just elevates the whole space. And it gives you a lot more storage as well. So guys, just in terms of some finishes then for you guys, just to help you make the most of, of the space and just getting a bit more light and colour and all of that into the space and get more light bouncing around. The first thing I'm going to suggest is we'll look at your flooring and your walls first. So for your flooring, I'm going to suggest something like this really light oak herringbone floor. If the herringbone is too expensive, by all means, just go for, an engineered wood or a parquet wood or something. It doesn't have to be in the herringbone pattern. You could just go for your straight, your straight wood floor, and but it's the colour more so here. Go for a really light wood just to bounce a lot of light around the room for you. So actually you can see in that example there the effectiveness of that herringbone floor, especially when you have that lighting underneath the cabinets, and you can see it's a really light coloured wood as well, and it keeps the whole space feeling really light and bright. For your paint colours as well, I'd suggest, guys, look, just keep it a really neutral off-white. I'd even go for just a light grey or something if you want a little bit of colour in the walls, but I wouldn't do too much else to those walls just because it's a small space. You want to make it feel open. For your kitchen, I know you were keen to maybe have a grey kitchen cabinet, so I've looked at some greys here. So there's a slightly darker grey, which could work well, especially if you have, like, say these, the wood countertops, I think could work really well with that sort of grey. If you're doing that, I would go for maybe a lighter coloured tile. So as they've done here, go for a white, even go for a little pattern like that. Could be really nice. Some nice big chunky lights as well over your bar or island, to give you task lighting, but also to help give you a kind of a finished look. I think could look really cool. Here's another example of a grey kitchen, but a more modern style. So you wanted to look at a few different versions of greys. So this is a much more modern, streamlined kind of grey. So it's kind of a matte grey there. You can see again the light wood flooring. This could be a great idea for you guys, the kind of bar top off the back of your island or bar in your kitchen. So it creates a little dining space. If you wanted to add a pop of colour in with something like that, you could really go for it and go for like a teal or a green or something like that, maybe in a herringbone pattern. I think could be quite successful with the grey in small doses, you know, so you could just use it around your backsplash, kind of around the back of your hob and that area. So that could be kind of cool. There's another example of it there. I think that looks really nice and could be very nice up against the grey. So I know you did want a little bit of colour in that kitchen. So there are those suggestions I think could work really well. In your living room then, what I'm going to suggest is like your biggest piece of furniture is your sofa in this space. And at the moment you have a black sofa. So I know you said you were definitely going to get a new sofa and you were looking for suggestions. My suggestion would be to go for a white or a really light grey in a linen finish. Go for the L shape again. Your room can fit it, and if you put it in over there against that that wall that we spoke about, sorry, up against the I'll just pull up the floor plan here again. So up against where you have your window and have your L going that way. That'll work really well and that'll be perfect. It makes more use of the space. At the moment you have it going this way, and unfortunately that just kind of blocks the space. So if you have it going this way, it keeps everything really open here, so you do get that proper open plan. So that, I think something like that white or light grey in like a linen-y type finish, or again like a nice herringbone fabric or something, could be beautiful. What else have I got for you in terms of finishes? Above that sofa then, at the back of that sofa, what I'd like to suggest is like a nice picture railing or two. You could do it just like this actually, in a nice kind of gallery wall, and put different heights of pictures and different styles of frames. So you can see there's wooden frames, there's gold frames, there's black frames, you know, there's round bits, there's mirror, there's a little bit of planting. Play around with that, but create a little gallery wall up above your sofa just to give it a bit of personality in that space. I think that could work really well. For your coffee table then, I'm going to suggest that you put a round coffee table in front of that sofa, because, or even two round coffee tables, because what you have at the moment is a lot of squares and rectangles and that sort of shape. So to really kind of make it flow a little bit better, I think that something like these would be great. I think I just found these on Etsy, by the way, so you have a look on Etsy, you could certainly get something like this. But if not, you know, look at Wayfair or any of the big furniture retailers in Ireland, and you'll get something similar. These are like a mango wood, and you can see how like the bit of colourful grain in them gives it a bit of personality, you know. So don't go for anything too plain. With your smaller pieces of furniture, you can afford a little bit of pattern to make it pop. So that image there is just to give you a closer look at, you know, a really nice wood grain. I think would be fabulous in front of that white sofa. You could do the same thing then with your TV unit. So I go for a low-lying TV unit, guys, and either mount the telly on the wall or put the telly on the unit, but go for a low-lying unit, because I think the one you have there at the moment, it's big and it's dark and it's absorbing a lot of light. So black surfaces absorb light, white surfaces reflect light. So just bear that in mind. So if you're going to go for dark furniture, go for smaller pieces like this. Also, see the way they have like plants and lighting and that kind of things around the TV. That I think is really nice around the telly. Don't just have the telly stuck out there on its own in the middle of nowhere. Just dress it up and make it part of the home. And that could be really successful. So the last thing I think I have for you, oh yeah, it's just this mirror. So where I'm going to suggest you put this, something like this, you know, it doesn't have to be this exact one, but try and find a nice funky mirror and a big kind of horizontal mirror. So you want something quite large, and that is going to be for this wall right here. Wait till I just show you this now. So right here, opposite your island or your bar. Have a nice big horizontal mirror there, kind of at eye level, so that when you're standing in the kitchen you actually see yourself in it. But the reason, it's not really for looking at yourself, but it's good for that too. But the reason for this is if you have really cool pendant lights hanging down over this island, and they're sort of just up above head height or whatever, you want to catch the reflection of those in that mirror there for two reasons. One, it makes the room look that little bit bigger and it bounces around those nice shapes and that. But two, it'll just bounce back the light into the room as well. So it'll just give you, you know, a really nice finish to this area. It'll help kind of light this entire area here. So other lighting, I would suggest recessed lighting throughout the entire room as well, so recessed spots, and you could go for quite a funky pendant light in your living room too if you wanted. But also lots of lamp lighting, so little lamps around the TV, lots of ambient lighting, strip lights under your baseboards, as I mentioned earlier, strip lighting throughout all of your top cabinets as well. You could even have, you know, a nice little lamp kind of going on here on the island as well. And if you have space, you could even have like a small little round lamp table here with a lamp on that as well. And that lovely soft layers of lighting will really help to just create a lovely softness throughout the room, as well as bringing a lot of light into the room. So that is it, guys. That's they are my suggestions. That drawing there is to scale, so I know that you will fit all of that stuff in there. I'll send you on copies of the drawings and all of my suggestions as well. And obviously you have this video, so you can look back on this anytime you like. But if you do have any more questions about any of my suggestions, just drop me an email and I'll be more than happy to answer. And best of luck, guys, with the renovation, and I can't wait to see what you do. Don't forget to send me some pictures when you're finished, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks.